12, welcome again to my lesson Geography with KHUMALO.M. Today grade 12 will be looking the last topic in economic geography. The last topic in economic geography, you know that we are dealing with the informal sector in South Africa. You can see by the picture there, grade 12, that what are we going to talk about? You can see there's a lady sitting there with some trolleys selling on the road. So we are going to look at the informal sector in South Africa. But first, let's look at what the exam guideline says about informal sector. What should we know and what is expected of us from the examination? Now, the informal sector in South Africa, we must know the concept of informal sector employment in South Africa. We must know the characteristics of informal sector employment. We must know the reasons for high informal sector employment in South Africa. We must know the challenges facing South Africa's informal sector, their importance, and the role of informal sector in the economy. Then we must also know the strategies for strengthening the informal sector in South Africa. We also have to know the case, we have to work on the case studies that talk about the informal sector. So mostly grade 12, they will ask you this question in terms of a case study, an article, or a cartoon. So you must be familiar with those type of questions. Now, let's look at the concepts that are very important in this topic. Now, the concepts that are very important for this topic will be the informal sector. What is an informal sector? The unregistered or unregulated sector of the economy, which includes hawking and street vendors. They do not pay tax and are not monitored by the government. So those are unregistered businesses that do not pay tax to the government. That is an informal sector. Now, we talk of entrepreneurship, the act of creating a business or businesses with the purpose of generating profit. So if I create a business and I want to make profit out of it, then I am an entrepreneur, or that's a process of entrepreneurship. Then we call credit facilities. That's a type of loan made in a business or corporate financial context, usually over an extended period. So a credit facility is where you can go and borrow money to. Then an income tax, that is the tax imposed on individuals or entities. Entities, those are businesses in respect of income or profit, and so the government will charge them a tax to against the profits that they make a year. Then the characteristics of an informal sector. So the characteristics of an informal sector employment, grade 12. How do we see an informal sector? The operations of that business are on a small scale. There's low costs are involved in starting the business. So it's usually a business that does not require a large amount of money or large sum of money to start. There's a low use of technology but labor intensive. So now there's a less technology that is used there. Think of someone who is selling outside on the streets, selling maybe oranges, bananas, Zimba chips, or whatsoever. And then no access to credit facility from institutions. So those businesses can't take loans because they are not registered. They are usually owned by families. They do not pay any income tax, so they don't pay income tax. But remember, grade 12, when you answer it and write it in an exam, you don't just say they don't pay tax. They don't pay income tax, or they don't pay tax to the government or to SARS. They are a result of unemployment and poverty. Because of unemployment and poverty, then we get this informal sector. Then we move to, now we are going to move to what we call the reasons for high informal sector employment in South Africa. Why do we have these type of businesses that are not registered? It's because they do not pay tax. So those businesses don't pay tax, so they are the profit that they make, it comes to them 100%. They form as a result of unemployment. There is high unemployment rate in South Africa, so people tend to have their own businesses, which are informal businesses. They are not registered. Employees don't contribute to pension or UIF funds or medical aid. So most of the private sectors, they will not contribute to pension fund or medical aid. So because of the benefits that they don't get as they are working, they form as a result of poverty. So because the poverty rate is very high in South Africa, so those businesses will start as a result of poverty, so that people can sustain themselves, so people can be able to take care of their daily needs. Then we look at the challenges facing the South Africa's informal sector. We look at there is a lack of support from the local government. The government does not support these businesses. There is irregular and low income. So their income is not always the same. So it depends on what they sell and how much they've sold for that month. That will depend on the customers. Limited access to financial assistance. They can't take loans. There's lack of education. Most of these people, they are not educated. No education is needed in terms of this informal sector. So there's lack of education. Lack of storage facilities is one of the challenges that are faced by the informal sector. Government does not skill them. When you go back to lack of education, there are no skills development program to assist the informal business owners. Then irregular and low income, we have talked about that. It's just a repetition of what I have said. It's very important. It's very easy to understand this topic, and then you have to work with questions related to that. Now, the importance or the role of informal sector in the economy. Now, what is the role and why this sector is very important in our country? Is because it provides critical or much needed employment for the poverty stricken. So a person does not need to wait for the government to create jobs. Instead, they create jobs on their own. They sell goods and they make money. They're able to sustain or take care of themselves. It improves the quality of life. Now it improves the quality of life. People can be able to provide themselves the basic needs that they want. It reduces crime amongst the unemployed. It contributes to the country's economy. It contributes to the country's economy. How? Remember that these informal traders, they buy from what? From formal businesses. They go and get their stock from what? They purchase their stock from the businesses that are registered. So in return, they pay what we call the value added tax. So they are charged VAT on their goods that they've purchased. Informal traders support formal trading. They get goods from formal sector. So I will go and buy from KitKat and sell there on the road. KitKat is registered. I am not registered, but I'm paying tax, value added tax to KitKat. Then it encourages entrepreneurship among communities. So it will encourage entrepreneurship amongst the community. So more people or many people will be taking a path to do what? To what we call to start their own businesses. Now, what are the strategies that the government can do, or strategies to strengthen this informal sector? The government can provide facilities and support services. Support services like what? They can give them permits. They can reduce the amount that they charge on permits for these businesses. Or the government can register this business for free. The education in entrepreneurial skills, they can provide skills development for the informal traders so that they can have knowledge of how to run this business and make money. Provide financial support to informal sector. Forgive me for the assessment that I've written there. It's informal sector. Sorry for that, grade 12. Now, it provides financial support to the informal sector. So now, how is that support? Now, allow the informal traders to be able to apply for a certain loan that they can grow their business. Allocation of sites and services for the informal sector. Allocate land and place or build facilities where these informal traders, they can sell. And registration of informal sector is the same thing that I've talked about. That is all. I hope you understand. You are going to ace this section of the examination. That is from me, KHUMALO.M, the Geography Sangoma. Have a lovely day and hope you are going to ace that exam when they ask you about informal traders and informal sector. Watch out for the videos that I'm going to send on the YouTube in terms of informal sector in South Africa. Have a lovely day. Goodbye.